Greetings everyone, my name is Tawnya Love, and today we normally have our live show on the TawnyLoveShow.com, and I'm wondering if my assistant Amnon might be having some issues with the storms and the rain because he is in Raleigh, North Carolina, so I'm not able to get a hold of him, so I decided that I was going to get on here live and just connect with whoever is around and wants to connect with me live. Tonight's topic that we're going to talk about with on the TawnyLoveShow.com was going to be spiritual liberation and how that affects every one of our lives and why choosing to live with spiritual liberation is so important for each of us. And so that's what I'm going to be talking about for a little bit here, and I welcome your comments. If they're positive and loving, I encourage you to bring any comments that you would like to. Basically, what I've observed is there are many forms that we can walk in spiritual enslavement, and we can think we're free, but there's subtle ways that we kind of walk into new forms of shackles. And I feel like it's really important for us to be aware and to practice discernment in all aspects of our lives, from our education to our government to religion, connected with different groups of people. If we're working with a healer, if we're going to church and working with a priest or a minister, there's so many things that are, requiring our discernment in regards to our own free, sovereign, state of liberation. And from my perspective, we are all free, sovereign beings, and we all have the right to have a voice. We have the right to make choices, to think for ourselves, and to create from our own spiritual awareness. And when I think of someone who's really become a master, I think it just is about coming to a place of self-realization. No longer is that human projecting a sense of blame on anybody else for their thoughts, for their actions, for their choices. They are in their power, they are channeling their own power, and they are claiming it. And I don't feel that this is only like a gift for the select few. I feel every single living being has a right to that freedom and that power. And so one of the things I'm going to read is to kick this show off, and I hope this is working because I have never done a live video before on Facebook in this way, so I hope it's working. Basically, I got these new cards, and today I drew a couple cards for the show that I was going to do tonight, and I'm just kind of going with the flow in this form. But one of the cards is titled The Untamed, and it's from the Alana Fairchild deck. Shh, I'm live, baby. It's from the Alana Fairchild deck, and this one is titled Goddess Freyja, and it's the crystal amber. And it looks like this, so if you want to kind of get a look at that. Awesome, thank you guys for your feedback. It's working, awesome. Okay, see, this is when the universe supports going with the flow. Okay, so this card is titled The Untamed, and I'm going to read this to you, and hopefully you guys have a little time to hang out with me because I often have much to say, and if not, I think it records it and then you can watch it later. But it says, we bring you the empowerment of the untamed. To be untamed is to be true to oneself, without condition. It is freedom, but it is not always easy. There are many belief systems, some of which are considered to be essential and beyond question to mainstream human society, which would mark an untamed spirit as dangerous and a suspicious creature, even though that untamed spirit serves unconditional love. And I often have related to that feeling where, growing up in a family where I've been very sensitive, I'm an empath, I know what's going on, I can feel what's going on inside of the humans I love, sometimes more clearly than they're allowing themselves to feel. Sometimes, I'll just have knowing of a situation. I'll be in an environment and I'm just like, what is this? They're lying to you. Like, this is not truth. And a soul like that can feel, kind of threatening to the system, to the ones that are wanting to seduce you into believing that you have no power, the ones that want to take control over you and tell you what to do. And so this can be a really tricky path as far as we must cultivate confidence and we must cultivate courage, because it's important for us to remain sacred rebels, to remain untamed and free, so that we can actually help others break free. And I feel like that's been one of the biggest things in my life that I've had to really master, is not worrying about what people think of me so much, not worrying about if I'm accepted, if people really approve of me, or if they're like, you know what, this girl Tawnya Love needs to just get the hell away from us because she's really scaring us and she's making us think. She's making us actually, look into our lives of where we're giving our power away. And I feel like we need more of this energy on the planet right now. And I feel like every one of you listening has that power, every single one of you. I am not special. There is no one that's more special than you. It's just about you taking your power back. It's about you realizing that you can tune in to your highest self and you can listen to love and you can take action. You can listen and you can, speak and you can choose and co-create from a space of love instead of fear. And I feel like this is so important for us to really understand right now. So back to the card. Yet to be untamed is the only way to discover who you are and to live your divine destiny. Behind the clothing, the social masks, and the stories that you tell yourself or that others tell you, there is a beautiful, wild, divine creature that wants out. Uncage that divinity and watch your wild beauty emerge as you and your world transform through raw grace. And I love that, because when we can really align with our true divinity and our true light and our true nature, we can break free. We can truly uncage ourselves. And what's so amazing that I've observed in my life is that when I've had the power and the courage to walk on my own, there's been times where it seemed like nobody was standing with me. There was no family on my side. Everyone was saying I was crazy. And if you've been in those positions, keep walking and keep shining, because that is when you know that you're really starting to shake them up. You're starting to get people, they're uncomfortable with that kind of light. They're uncomfortable with that kind of power. But what we have to watch out for is that we don't start to dim our light again. We don't start to silence ourselves again. And we don't start to submit again and walk into new cages. And I feel like that's so important for us. One of the most exciting, terrifying, and liberating, and those who live in fear, threatening thresholds you'll go through on the spiritual path is to unplug from mass conditioning. In the same way that you may imagine a cult member having to deprogram their mind as they exit the cult and regain normal society, there will be a point on the spiritual path where you realize that normal society is actually trapped in a cult-like mindset of its own, and the freedom-loving divine rebel in you will want out. You can have your freedom, but you'll need courage. You'll go through loss. Admittedly, it's loss of what would ultimately suffocate your soul. But that might include people or places or things to which you have become attached. And this is really important, because I know I had to go through this initiations with, there were people I surrounded myself with that I thought, who am I without this husband? Or who am I without these people, this family, this tribe? And if those humans are enslaving you, if those humans are abusing you, if those humans shame you and try to degrade you for being who you are, keep walking, because I promise you, it's worth it. It will so be worth it. And it might be scary, because I remember I was terrified when I went through that. And to this day, there's times that I get tested, I maybe go into a job and I really am excited about that job, and then I'm like, oh man, like the people here are out of alignment, they're enslaving, they're silencing everyone has to submit. Hell no, we won't do this, we will not cooperate here, but we'll speak our truth and we'll move on. And I feel like the more that you practice this, the more you will become masterful at it, and you won't live with attachment. You won't live in a way where you will even be available to be shackled by anything or anyone. And that is when you've entered this space, a sacred space of self-realization. And that is the highest divinity. That is when we know we are one with Source. We are not separate from Source. We do not need our answers from an external guru. We are our own guru. We are the masters. We are the ones that tune in and trust our intuition. We trust our feeling. We listen to the heart. We stop listening to the ego, how it's got constant fear. I can tell you, I had years of my ego chattering, trying to hold me in prison and tell me how scary it would be if I broke free of prison. But the scariest thing is when you have given up and when you just let the ego hold you prisoner. That is the scariest thing. So just start to get comfortable with knowing that voice is going on, and just keep walking through it. Keep moving through that fear, and I promise you it will be worth it. Okay, so let's see, where did I leave off on here? You may know that it is the right thing to do to move on, and yet you will need to grieve the loss. And I think that's important. If we let go of people, places, situations, give yourself time, be gentle with yourself, grieve that loss, but trust that anything that is being cleared from your life is going to be for your highest and best, and that there is something more beautiful on its way because you have had the courage to make space for that, change. If we have a relationship we know is not working, clinging to that relationship is not going to help us get the one we want. We have to release it, and then it gives us space to let that relationship that we know we deserve, it will give us space for it to enter. If we're working at a job that we hate, and we know that they don't treat us well, we know that they enslave the people, they just use people, stop participating. What if every one of you just stopped participating in the game? I mean, it would get interesting really fast, because nobody has power over any of you unless you give your power away. And so really think about that. Am I giving my power away? Is it subtly being given away, or is it very drastically being given away? And start to question, why am I giving my power away? Why do I feel like I need to do that? This is a very maybe comfortably uncomfortable place that I'm in, where I'm so used to doing that, I think I have to keep doing it. But I promise you that it is worth the work and the courageous effort to break free of that, to actually come back to yourself. That is what we're here to do. You'll spend some time in between worlds where you'll feel not quite in the past and maybe not quite in the new life. You may have some travel companions for your transitional journey, but they won't necessarily always feel like family. In fact, you may feel spiritually orphaned, lost, and alone, and you need to be okay with that, because you're not really alone. The home you have left wasn't right for you, but now you are homeless, and that doesn't feel right either. Fortunately, if you are brave enough to keep going, you will find the place where you truly belong. Put simply, you don't give up until you find it. When a wild animal has been wounded, it keeps on the move until it can find a safe place to rest and recover. Your instincts will guide you to do the same as you heal the wounds inflicted upon your body, your mind, and your spirit by fear-based societal conditioning. You will eventually be strong enough to free yourself from the conditioning and belief systems that once hampered your heart and diminished your dreams. In due course, the deprogramming will shift to reprogramming. Instead of just fighting against what has been drummed into your body and mind through fear, you'll begin to feel free. For the first time, you will feel free. You will start to embrace new ideas, more loving realities, and put those new beliefs to the test. And in time, you will find not only a way to live that feels authentic to your wild divine nature, but connections with other souls who have gone through their own unplugging process, and with whom you will share your great love affair with life. Like all of you that are connecting with me, mwah, that is what we're all here doing, and we're doing it together. We are not alone. Okay, I feel pumped about this. This oracle brings guidance. Do not allow fear-based reality to temper your spirit or to tame your heart or to dull your dreams. There are so many people who will tell you no. They will call you crazy, and they will say that you are living in a dream world. That is what they need to believe, because your increasing aliveness is too much for them to handle. Yet, they aren't ready for you quite yet. What they say and believe is about them, not you or your reality. And that is so key. When humans are lashing out, when fearful, frantic humans are lashing out, it is about them. They are expressing the fears they hold within their own mind, and they are sending and projecting it upon you. Don't take it personally. Move away from them. Get away from that energy, but realize they are sending it out because they can't handle your light. And your light actually really is uncomfortable for someone that's living in shadow. So just realize that, and just don't beat yourself up. I feel like so many empaths and very compassionate, sensitive people have to go through this initiation where they learn to get a tougher skin. It's not getting guarded or shielding yourself, but it's getting to this place where you don't take it so personal. You realize, it's like Christ. They're beating him up, dragging him through the streets, hanging him on a cross. And what did he say? Forgive them, for they know not what they do. He is seeing from a place of self-realization. There is no blame. He sees they cannot understand me. They cannot see me. They cannot receive the love I'm here to give them. And so forgive them, for they know not what they do. It's moving like that. It's living in that kind of, unity consciousness where you're sending out love no matter what others will do with that. And if they're sending back hate or they're sending back negativity, they're calling you names, they're shaming you, saying you're crazy, that's fine. Let them say what they need to say, and you just keep on moving, because you're not crazy. Crazy is staying in the shackles. That's crazy. Okay. Also, know that part of the conditioning and the lies that exist within mainstream culture is that life within the system is safer and easier. This is completely untrue. This is a myth. When you learn to live wild and true, you'll see that it's so much easier for the universe to assist, uplift, inspire, and support you when you aren't cowering in fear trying to prevent life from reaching you. If you feel you or your life is out of control, or you feel you want change but everyone thinks that you are crazy, believe in yourself stronger than ever. That is when you really want to believe in yourself. Know that your wild spirit is being given an empowerment from the universal goddess of life to become untamed and wild. So that is this card, and it's got a little invocation if any of you want to call forth this assistance right now. If you know that you need extra help and you're just like, I totally relate to what Tanya's saying, but how do I do that? How do I embody this courage? How do I live like that lioness of God, or that lion of spirit, that lion of God? How do I roar my truth? How do I move with power and courage? If you're wanting to know that, just tuning in right now and set that intention. It is that simple. It's how I'm channeling all this wisdom to you. All I do, spirit, love, unconditional love, and light beings that are here for our highest good and well-being, speak through me now. Channel through me now. And that's what you do. And so I'm going to just read this little invocation. If you want to speak it out loud or to yourself with power and intention, ignite that inside of yourself. Okay, it says, I call upon the crystal angel of amber and the goddess Freyja, who love me unconditionally. Thank you for the divine healing empowerment of the untamed. May I drop the cages, constraints, and conditions that breed fear and forgetfulness of my true nature. May I open to the untamed wild divinity in me that allows my life to happen in effortless harmony with the universe. Through my own free will, so be it. Oh, that's so good. Okay, and then the next one is, I choose of my own free will. And make sure you relate to this. This is your free will moment. And one thing I want to say, just real quick, because some people might get tripped up by a word. So maybe if it says the goddess Freyja, I don't want some of you to be like, she said goddess, like I have to delete her now. Just be open to what you connect with. If you connect with God, if you connect with your angels, the universe of love and light, whatever you connect with, it's your sacred connection with the divine. It is not for someone else to tell you what to do, and it is not something for you to be scared or frightened of if someone relates in a different way. And I think that's where we have to start loving each other, guys. Like, we have to start accepting each other and realize that for some, they really, really relate to nature, and they relate to the goddess, the feminine power. And for some, they really relate to, the masculine divinity and God. And maybe for some, they're like, that God goddess stuff causes a lot of wars, so I'm going to just connect with the universe. That seems neutral. Or I'm going to call it source. That's what I love to say. It's the source of energy. It's the source of consciousness. Whatever it is that works for you, come into that place in yourself. That's the authenticness of it. It's not about shaming or being afraid of what other people connect with. Okay, so the next part says, I choose of my own free will through this and any and all lifetimes and through all layers of my entire being to forgive and release myself from fear-based conditioning, and I choose freedom, wild divinity, and unconditional trust in life. Through divine empowerment and unconditional love, so be it. And let that be your truth. Let that be your, what you stand for. Allow love and truth and light to actually lead you forward. And your affirmation that comes through on this one is, I am wild divinity untamed. And I just love that. And again, I'll show you guys the card. It is the Untamed. And that was the angel, or sorry, the goddess Freyja and the amber crystal. So back to this topic today, and I have never done a live video, but I can feel you guys love. I seriously, it's kind of like, my heart is just like, woo! I love this. So it's like really exciting. So thank you. I can totally feel you guys' enthusiasm, your excitement, and your love bouncing back at me, and your little hearts popping up. I seriously appreciate that. I don't see any negative stuff, no thumbs down or like throwing up faces, so that's a good sign. So anyway, back to our spiritual liberation. We need to be really mindful of how there's subtle ways that we give away our power. So one of the things, I have just like a top like handful of ways that I've observed in culture where we fall for myth and where we start to give our power away. And so one of them is the savior complex. So we're often taught this myth that we need a savior. We need someone that's going to save me. I need someone to save me from myself. And in essence, we're taught this when we're very young, and it's programmed in us to believe that you're a sinner, you're bad, you're lost, and you're broken. And because of that, because I'm telling you that, it's okay though, come to me and let me save you. Let me be your savior. And we want to watch out for this, because in truth, if you check in with yourself, and when you were a little child, especially if you can remember what it felt like to be a child and just to feel like, what are the humans, the adults around me talking about? Like, I don't feel broken. I don't feel lost. I don't feel like I'm a bad person. And so check in with the truth inside of you, that radar, that internal navigation that's constantly telling you, you know, if something feels right or if it doesn't feel right. So that savior complex, it's projecting a sense of something outside of me is needed so that I can be saved, so I can be okay. In truth, you are one with your source. And if we look at the masters who walked this planet, like, I think Christ was an awesome dude, and I am totally into the Christ consciousness. But when I look at that human and I observe his life and what, you know, what parts I feel that they've presented of him that are truthful and what parts have been twisted, he was not a religious person. He was not going to church. If you think about how many stories are told where he's out in the, you know, on the hillside, and he's on the lake, and he's in the forest and the desert, and he's out and about, and he's moving around, and he's expressing a message of love. He's expressing a message of forgiveness, of compassion, of oneness. So he's teaching this message of that, you know, these things I do, you shall do greater. He was not saying, you know, I'm this awesome master, come to me to be saved. He was connecting and teaching that he was one with the Son of God, the way he worded it. He is one with his source. And so we are also one with our source. We don't have to feel separate. And we don't need to go to any club or any building or any group of people to be saved. This is something that we do for ourselves, that we choose love. We choose that divinity in ourselves, and we choose to honor the love. We choose to forgive others when they treat us badly. We forgive them. We love them anyways. Unconditional love. But that doesn't mean that we stay and we hang out with them. This is where a lot of empaths need to really learn to master discernment. There's a difference between discernment and judgment. When we're judging, we're like looking at another and we're shaming them and we're looking for faults in them, and we have judgment. We're thinking what's good, what's bad, what's right, what's wrong, what we will allow, what we won't allow. That's a human heart consciousness. The human heart has a lot of, you know, different opinions about things. But when we go into a higher heart space, we go into unity consciousness. This is when we may not agree with each other, and we can agree to disagree. We may not hang out with the person that's abusive, but we can still love them and want good for them, and we can still hold the expectation that that human can heal and that that human can actually awaken. And I think we have to watch that, because I see a lot of, you know, from, it could be Christians, like good Christian women, to light workers that sit around and they're kind of like holier than thou and superior in their stance with what's wrong with all the humans, what's wrong with all these people, or what's wrong with all the sinners. It's just a new form of that. We need to really watch out that we're actually coming from a place of unity, and that we are seeing that, yes, this person is making choices that are causing them pain, that are causing others pain. This human is making choices that could be better, and I'm going to love them regardless. Now, I'm going to love them even with tough love. There might be times I'm speaking my truth and they're terrified and running, or there's times where I am laying down the law and I am laying down my boundaries and they're not able to walk through those boundaries. That is love. That's self-love. That's empowered discernment. And that's something we all are here to master. So that's in regards to the savior complex. The next one, and I wrote 22 pages of notes, so I'm just going to kind of pop in and out. I was kind of channeling this afternoon, and my beloved was watching the whole thing happen. So this next part is the guru complex, and the guru complex comes in all kinds of forms. It can come in the form of a musician. You know, we got that rock star groupie thing going on. It can come in the form of a yogi, and I can't really feel like I'm a great yoga instructor or a yoga student unless I go sit at the foot of the guru, and I have to travel to India, or I have to, give up my belongings and go and live near the guru in an ashram. The guru complex is, again, it's us taking the sense of projecting our sense of power and our saviorness in the external world. So some guru can tell me what I should do. Some guru can tell me my life path. And this is subtle, and it can be also drastic, where gurus can really be in a position where they can really steer people in a direction very much in a place of disempowerment. But also, I've observed how humans will do it to even some light workers that have no desire to be treated that way. I have had so many times where I've taught yoga, or I've worked with a client and as a healer, a light worker, and people can feel the magic. They can feel the divinity that moves through me when I'm working. And sometimes they will start to kind of talk to me in such a way, or kind of treat me in such a way that I'm a guru, like I'm superior to them, and that I am special. She's connected more than anyone. No, not true. And I will tell them that quickly. No, I just practice. I am in stillness a lot. I'm quiet. I'm listening. I let my mind be a calm, reflective pool so that I can receive impressions from spirit. I can listen deeper. That's it. And so all of us listening today have the ability to do this. We just have to actually have the desire and to choose and claim time each day to be quiet and to be still and to be reflective, especially when things scare you, especially when something's going wrong, and so-called wrong in your movie. When you think something is not right, you think something's unjust or something's scary, it's triggering fear, that's exactly when you want to go into stillness. You don't want to go into fearful, frantic action. You don't want to just go and make decisions. This is when you want to get really still, really quiet. You know that saying, be still and know that I am God? Yes. And as you become more and more still, the more you practice that space of meditation and listening, you are going to know the gods you are, the oneness with source that you are. You're going to realize you have capability, you have genius moving through you, you have gifts and talents that maybe you didn't even know were there. They've been suppressed in all that fearful chatter. And so the guru you're seeking, each of you, is inside. It's inside. Now, someone like myself that's a mediator, a light worker, a mentor, a teacher, I love to be able to be a way shower. That's exactly what I am. I'm a way shower. I'm a messenger. I'm shining a light of what you already are. I'm reminding you of who you are. So none of the power that you hold inside is in my hands, and it shouldn't be in anyone else's hands. And so if you feel like you've been training with someone that's kind of projecting that sense of guru-ness on you, kind of check into how you feel when you're in their presence. Do you feel a subtle, kind of feeling that you are incapable? A subtle feeling that you are inferior? There's this subtle feeling that you are not as powerful, not as intelligent, not as gifted? All these little things. Watch if they're kind of projecting that to you, or are you doing it to yourself? Because, like I said, I've had people kind of project that at me, and I'm like, whoa, 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 I am not your master. I'm just Tawnya Love, and you are your own master. And if you see things in me that you relate to, if you see things in me that you resonate with, then that is just my light mirroring to you your own divinity. And the same when we see people that really look insane, and they're hateful, and they're judgmental, they're just mirroring to us those darker aspects, those shadow aspects that also reside within, that we could tap into or not. And so all of us are really teachers for each other. And so be mindful of the guru syndrome. The guru complex is a very sneaky one. And remember that no one outside of you holds your power. No one, no preacher, no president, no, teacher, no priest, no guru. No one's got your stuff, your wisdom, your intelligence. No one's got that in their hands to give you. you can learn from people as teachers. You can learn from them and they can inspire you. And that's a great way to learn, but really be checking in on that. One of the things I've seen that's kind of funny to me, but in my life, a lot of my gifts have come to me from stillness. So like when I started doing this really magical, amazing angelic auric clearing work that blows my mind to this day, it was coming through me. I was waking up in the middle of the night with dreams. I was connecting with spirit. I was remembering so much magic within me. And I was connecting with guides that were, in another realm. And I was listening to them. This stuff started just waking up in me. When I started seeing spirits, when I started to see people shape-shifting, I was like, what's happening? But it was all coming from the stillness. It was coming from my own connection to source. So when I've met people that kind of come up to me and they're in their ego, and it's kind of entertaining to me now, I don't take it personal, but they're like, so tell me, Tawnya, who have you trained under? Who was your guru? Who was your teacher? Who did you train? And they always like to say train under, and I think that's a key word to pay attention to. Who did you train under? And I'm like, well, I learned from my angels, and I learned from source and through stillness and in dream state and in meditation. I was shown visions. I was, remembered knowingness of this. And so this stuff, this magic, the mystery of life, the mystical that we can't really grab a hold of and give a name to, it's in all of us. We are floating around in that universal soup of mystery, and it's beautiful, and there's infinite potential here. And so what's beautiful is science is starting to acknowledge this. Science, if you look in heart math, they're doing new research lately where they're realizing we can change our own DNA. Now, this is some serious spiritual liberation when we start to realize we actually have the power to shift our own DNA. We can change what we have been given. We can start to go in and affect it through our consciousness. So that's pretty fascinating, because that means no more of that old school, when you go to the doctor and they're like, so tell me what's wrong with your grandma, your grandpa, your mom, your dad, what is going to happen to you? Because pretty much if that happened to them, you're doomed, sister. And I never related to that. I used to actually tell doctors, I'm good. And whatever my grandma went through, that was her journey. Whatever my mother chose to go through, that's her journey. And whatever my father's going through, it has nothing to do with me. Yes, I observed them and they were a part of my growth and my evolution, but they do not hold my destiny. And this is something really important, because another form of spiritual enslavement is in the medical world. It's in science, when we feel like, you got to take this drug for the rest of your life. There's no way you're going to heal. I'm a light worker. I have assisted clients in healing arthritis, sexual diseases, women that hadn't had their periods in a couple years, all of a sudden they get their period, their cycle back. There's been amazing things. I have seen people heal where something looked so broken and then suddenly whole again. Emotional woundedness, mental woundedness, where those souls went back into their alignment. So when someone tells you that there is no chance for you and that is just the way it is, you have 6 months to live, I would really, really encourage you to take your power back and to stop being enslaved at that moment, because so many of us believe in this stuff. We believe this belief system that doctors are like gods, like doctors hold the answers. It's like we treat doctors kind of like psychics. Psychics know our future, doctors know our future. No, they don't. They are just guesstimating based on where you are and what's going on in your body with your symptoms. A psychic is guesstimating with what's going on in you vibrationally, but you own your power every step of the way. You are the one that can take your power back. You can heal your body, you can heal your life, you can heal your relationships, because you are one with Source. There is no separation. There is no woundedness truly in us. It's all a myth. It's all an illusion of brokenness and separation. And what I've observed is ego, anyone who's in a state of ego, loves to project a sense of separation. And if we start to align with separation, then we go, oh, yep, I feel broken, I feel separate, so it must be true. Just know that that is just you in a place where you can navigate where you currently are in your consciousness, and that there is room for potential growth. There's room for improvement. What if we all started living this way and believing that no matter what's happening, I have room for growth, I have room for progress, instead of thinking, I'm broken, I have 6 months to live. So that's something to be mindful of in regards to medical world. Man, let me see here. I don't know how long you guys want to listen to me go on, but I'm going to go a little longer. Okay, so the next one that I titled is government. And government is another one that I think is kind of juicy at this moment because all, the political stuff going on. And what I've observed is with this political debate energy going on, we're really getting the chance to see what shadowy aspects of ourselves as the collective are not being addressed and spoken, that are starting to just kind of blab themselves out. And we're seeing the darkest aspects of our collective society. We're also seeing opportunities where we could grow and heal that. We're seeing how, certain political parties are waking up like, what the shit? We need to actually wake up, like what's happening up in here? And we're starting to see something creating movement. So what I like to see is that there's no right or wrong, but there are humans that they're kind of playing actors. They're actors in the bigger movie. And so some of these actors are playing parts to create and stimulate movement, create and stimulate growth and awareness. So if we can see humans from that perspective, we can actually see divinity in everyone. We can even see that someone who ignites a lot of fear and hate could actually be teaching us greater lessons about what parts of ourselves we don't want to acknowledge. But with our government, in regards to spiritual liberation, I observe how often there's this myth that goes something like, we are the government and we feel that we need to help you govern yourselves because without us, whoever the us are, you cannot govern yourselves. So let us come in and save you and protect you, and you will all just do what we say. And so then we will create rules and laws and, punishment systems that will keep all of you safe. And this is very interesting to observe. If we're really awake, that seems insane to me. But many of us have been going along with this for a long time. And so it's kind of like uncomfortable, where we think, oh, guess what? So we're going to let them tell us what to do. This is where, again, we're giving our power away. We are no longer needing to make decisions. We don't need to think for ourselves. It's no different than religion or any different than, education system where you're just taught what to think. So with government, we have a lot of room for progress. We have a lot of room for potential shifts. Now, when I come from a place where I listen and connect with my source, I feel it comes back to a place of observing life through the lens of progress and improvement. Where are we going? What do we want to get better? This is the laws of attraction. We're focusing on our destination. We're focusing on what we love, the solution. And if we start to collectively do that, we are going to generate so much forward expansion, it will blow your minds. But so many of us are still in our egos, and so we'll start to feel a sense of empowerment to move forward, and then we'll go right back to the ego's fear, and we'll start saying, oh no one can do anything. The government's, we either hate the government, and we want to blame everything on the government, or we want the government to come save us, and we feel incapable, and we feel broken and lost because we don't have the government. So no matter which way we're looking at this, it is an enslavement. It is not a place of liberation. We're not moving in our power. We're giving our power away. So we need to watch that, because if we believe in that myth that we can't govern ourselves, that means that we're believing we're not capable. That's us believing that we are weak, we're inadequate, we're ignorant. I know I'm not. How about you guys? Who out there is ignorant? How many of you out there know you're capable, know that you're totally intelligent, and that you're paying attention? You absolutely can govern yourself. The thing that's funny is that when you see humans that are really in a state of self-realization, they are working for love, they are working for light, they are working for the collective, they are for unity, they're for oneness. So when we're in a state of that oneness with Source, we don't need to worry about crime, we don't need to worry about fearful things, because that's not inside of us. There's no fear in us. There's no part of us that wants to break free and cause a bunch of chaos because we feel enslaved. So if we think about it, the way to solution is not by creating new forms of prison and new cages. It is getting out of them. That is the way we're going to actually progress. So, okay, I got to take a drink of water. I see some of you guys comments. Let me see what some of you are saying. I don't believe in psychic doctors. I hate politics. So tired of it. So, yep, thank you, Jean. I'm kind of ignorant. That's funny. Well, I think we all can play that once in a while, right? We can all play the game of ignorance, and sometimes we choose to be ignorant because if I choose to be ignorant, then I don't have to actually make my decision. I don't have to actually be courageous and confident and capable. I can actually pretend that I'm slightly broken and damaged, and then I get away with it. It's like it enables me to be lazy, to kind of sit back and not own my power. And I say that with the most compassion, but truly, I feel like we do that. The next place that I titled, as far as spiritual liberation, is another way that we can give our power away is through this myth. And I'm not saying that there's not such thing as a soulmate or a twin flame, because I do believe that there are those energies. But when we feel that we cannot be whole, we cannot ascend, we cannot evolve without another, this is also an illusion and a myth. If we really come into a place where we embody self-love, that is the first step of every path of liberation, is self-love. Whether it's dealing with your government, or it's in the education system, if it's in your relationships, self-love is where it's all at. This is like the new path is self-love. Let's all focus there. Because when we're really in a state of self-love, we know that anything that comes to us is a gift. We know life is ever changing. We're excited, we're eager, we're accepting of all the good that comes to us, and we welcome it. But we also know that if something leaves us, if something moves in a new direction, like let's say a husband suddenly divorces you, or a girlfriend no longer wants to date you, if you gave that person your power, and you feel like you're not whole without that person, you have already entered a codependent relationship. Just in that feeling of, I cannot be whole without this other. That is a myth. You are whole right now. Each of you are whole. You're holy beings, holy vessels. And when you enter into holy union with another, so let's say a twin flame, they feel a sense of oneness with each other, they honor each other, they love each other, they show deepest respect to each other, they help each other evolve and grow. There's no sense of codependency, though. If there's that sense of codependency, meaning I can't make it without you, this is kind of like Lady Gaga Bad Romance love, where we're, codependently in love, and we're like, I can't do anything without you, and I hate myself. If you don't love me, I'm going to kill myself. That's insane. And so we want to check in with that. If we're feeling like I can't be complete, I can't feel powerful without my soulmate, that's bullshit. You absolutely are powerful. And yes, will it be fun to have a relationship with your beloved? Absolutely. Like, I love being in a relationship with my beloved. It's amazing. But I also know that if spirit were to say that that time has passed, or that there's a shift coming in this way, I know that I'm going to be okay. I know that I'm going to figure it out, and we're going to continue moving and being one with source and continue growing. So I feel like that's important to say, because I've seen a lot of codependency in relationship, and people can really kick their own butts with that. And we want to really put the focal point where it needs to be, which is self-love. Like, I am in love with myself, and not in a narcissistic way, but meaning I love myself, I honor myself, I know that I'm enough, and I allow everything good to come to me, and I know that spirit knows what's not best for me. And so if this person's leaving me, and I'm doing everything that I can to show love and to show honor, then I trust and I just honor the universal plan and the universal timing, because sometimes people do have to take a vacation from each other. Okay, so let's see, what else do I have here? The next thing, I was going to make a reference to, like, with doctors in the medical world, the same can come to in regards to healers and light workers. I feel like you need to be very discerning to what people are actually, what's their intention? What do you feel when you're in their presence? I know when clients come and work with me, there's been some people in my journey that have not liked that I actually don't give them their answers, and that I actually encourage them to do their work, and that I'm empowered. I will not tolerate BS, and I don't let them project a sense of, like the guru-ness on me. I don't take that on. And so there's been some people that I just have said, I just don't think it's best that I work with you. I feel like you're looking for a different kind of like a different kind of creation, and that's not what I'm willing to participate in. And we need to watch this, because there are people that you know, maybe they say they're a shamanic healer and they have the dreadlocks and they dress a certain way and they got all the people gathering around on the cushions on the floor, but you still feel a sense of they are in a state of superiority, they're talking down to you, they're not really accepting, they're not really in connection with you. And sometimes maybe they're even leading you to do things that you're questioning make sense yourself. Pay attention to that. This is where we got to practice discernment, because we need to feel and trust what we feel with humans. If we feel something's off, it's off. And if we feel like we have to just trust that person because they're, you know, a celebrated guru in the community or a celebrated shaman or a celebrated priest or whatever the way we're celebrating, it could be a celebrity and they're the celebrity of the moment and everyone wants to sit by them. Pay attention to that part of yourself that's seeking that externally, because externally is that seeking of that is never going to fulfill you internally. You need to fill that void yourself with your own connection with Source. And that is, again, I encourage stillness, quiet time in nature, you know, just listening, being present with each other, coming to a place of love, like intentionally being in a space of love rather than fear is going to help all of you cultivate this within. We need to, I feel like my ultimate message as a light worker, if you watch, I have 2 years worth of shows on my YouTube channel. If you want to look on Tawnya Love and follow that channel, and meaning follow it if you want to watch the shows, but you're not my followers and I'm not your guru, just to be clear. But if you want to watch the shows, there's plenty of wisdom that's been shared there. And the ultimate message I feel that my soul is here to assist with and to inspire each of you in remembering is that we're here to be the love. We're here to choose from love, to choose from that love, and we need to remember that we are love, that we're not separate from love. We're not separate from divinity. We are love. We're the love we've been seeking, and it's time for us to activate that and actually live from that place in whatever we're doing in our life. Some of us might be, you know, factory workers. Some of us here might be pet veterinarians, and some of us might be teachers or mothers and fathers. It doesn't matter what your occupation is. It matters that you're present, that you love yourself, that you're showing and extending love to each other. There is a lot of room for progress. There are things that I'm seeing in the political stuff that's going on that I would never follow these humans. They are not my leaders. And that doesn't mean that I don't respect them as humans on their own path of growth and awakening, but we need to watch that we're not just following blindly, going right off the cliff because someone tells us that's who we have to follow. What if we remembered that there's a game being played and we don't have to participate? What if we remembered that? What if we really realized that no matter what's happening, we have the choice always to choose to honor ourselves and not to travel where others tell us to go, not to actually do what they tell us to do, but actually honor what we feel. That is really spiritual liberation. And sometimes that means you're going to pop bubbles and you're going to break, you know, cages, and you're going to ruffle feathers, and that's exactly what sacred rebels have come to do. That's exactly why you don't fit in the places that you're at. That's exactly why people are threatened by you. Why you kind of make some people uncomfortable is because you're a sacred rebel. You came here to ignite love. You came here to show the way to a more aligned way of living. And that doesn't mean we fight everybody or we resist the old paradigm. We focus on the new one. We focus on being it. We focus on living it and speaking it and, you know, showing the way. That is what we're here to do. So we need to remember that. Let's see. I think I wanted to read one more card for any of you guys that are still hanging out, because I usually do an hour show and I'm pretty much done the same because I have talked for an hour. Holy crap, I didn't realize it had been that long. So the last card that I drew, and I'm glad you guys are hanging out with me because you must be getting something from this. And I'm just proud that I was brave and tried something new because I've, like I said, never done a live video on Facebook before. So thank you guys so much for your support and for listening and actually sharing this message and being a part of this change, because I'm not the only one on this planet that knows this. There are so many that know this, and some of you know this and you're being quiet. Some of you know this and you're feeling bad about it because the people around you maybe don't like that you know that. Just start to speak your truth, and you don't need to prove it to people. You don't need to make grandma get it. You know, just love grandma. Even if grandma can't handle your light and your optimism, it's okay. Just be who you are. Be authentic. That is what the world needs. So this last card is amazing, and it's the perfect card to end our little soul conversation today. And it's titled Archangel Metatron and Clear Quartz, and it's titled Power. And it looks like that. It's so beautiful. And this one says, together we bring the gift of power. Spiritual power enables you to trust in your higher guidance. No matter what appears to be happening in your life, psychological to fulfill your divine destiny, which in turn will support all beings. I just said my connection was weak. I don't think that's true. I think I have a great connection with Source. I'm just kidding. That was what it says on my little phone. But anyway, this oracle, that's like the darkness. Like Darth Vader's messing with me right now. Like the dark side's like, your connection is weak. I'm just kidding. So this oracle brings you guidance about the nature of power within you. As part of your spiritual journey at this time, you are being given the opportunity to change your relationship with power. This may mean letting go of the fear of being powerful. And I feel like a lot of us, if we really tune in on that, a lot of us have fear of being powerful. We're afraid to embody our own power. We're terrified of it. You know, the Nelson Mandela quote, it is not our light that frightens us, it is it's not our darkness that frightens us, it's our light, it's our power. And so we need to actually honor that maybe we have room for our power and actually aligning with that power and inviting it in. It might seem strange to hold such a fear, yet if we look around the world today, there are many examples of those in powerful positions being exploitative and abusive, rather than protective and empowering of those that may be impacted by their expression of power. So think about that. Are there humans you see in the world today that are in positions of power, that exploit that power, and that are abusive with it? And observe that and don't follow them. Do not support that any longer, and start to really honor and support the beings that you see who are intelligent, the beings who are supportive to each other, the beings who are empowering of those of all walks. This is the new leadership. We're here to ignite a new leadership. We're here to create new, grids of power and new realms and dimensions of living. And so we need to start accessing our consciousness, and we need to start remembering how we are to play a part in that new earth, because we're here to create it. Yet, power itself is an essential component of the spiritual path. Without it, you will lack the energy needed to follow your dreams, to take meaningful action, and to stand up for what is true for you. Set priorities and honor them. Establish clear and helpful boundaries with others, and become a courageous light shining true, even if others doubt or misunderstand you at times. Yes, power can be misused when it comes from selfish agenda about serving one's immediate needs rather than serving with love. When one chooses to serve love in all things, something marvelous happens. Personal needs are met as well as the needs of others. It is a win-win situation that is created. And this is so true, because when we're coming from a place of love and we are sharing and we're leading from love, we are not looking at lack. We are focused on abundance and on goodness. When we think of, again, going back to Christ, how he made the loaves and the fishes, he wasn't looking at lack. He's like, hey, these people need to eat. You know what? Let's bless this food, and there's plenty to go around. And freaking miracle. And so we're so afraid that there's lack, and we're given that little, message from misaligned leaders. They're constantly telling us there's not enough. They're constantly telling us, something is not enough. And so because of it, give me your power and I will protect you. It's the same thing. It's the same seductive little sneaky thing. So we need to pay attention that there is plenty, that we have more than enough, and that we actually can ignite more by our focusing as a collective, as individuals, and as a society on abundance. We're going to generate that shift. To use your power to serve love will help you to grow rapidly on your spiritual path and gain traction in the physical world, bringing your dreams to life more quickly. You'll know when you are using your power to serve love because it will feel strengthening to your heart and you will become able to step forward on your life path, expressing yourself in a clearer, stronger, and more empowered way. Kind of like me today. I did not always have this confidence to speak out. And in fact, this today, like I said, my first time doing a live video on Facebook, and hey, it's totally worked out. I'm not too concerned about it. I'm just speaking my truth. But I feel you guys' love, and I can feel that enthusiasm, and you are actually giving me strength, and you're helping me speak clearer. And when I'm sending love to each of you, it's giving you strength. So do you see how we have this like magnetic invisible power with each other where we can actually generate more power and strength with our love than we can through fear? So we need to just start stepping into these places where we can speak more clearly and speak more lovingly and trust that it's totally going to open up doors for us. It's going to open up the way, and it's going to help us connect with those who we most need to connect with. Trust in that. Trust that whatever you want and desire wants you just as bad. So if you have that burning desire in your heart for something, just start to put it out there and trust that the whole universe is going to start conspiring in your favor to give you what you want. You will know that when you are using your power to serve love because it will feel strengthening. Oh, I just said that. Well, you'll know that. I said it again. As your light shines brighter in this way, you'll be able to help others too. As you continue to become more comfortable with owning your power, you will learn how to handle yourself in a way that is loving, disciplined, and strong. You shall become even more willing to admit the aspects of your character not constructive or helpful. So this is where, you know, maybe we catch stuff about ourselves where we could have done better. We never want to shame ourselves. So let's say you had a fight with your partner and you realize, shit, I was kind of in my ego and I was a little bit insecure. So I could just be defensive about that and not be comfortable owning that. Or I could kind of go sit with it, process it, and then come back to my beloved and say, you know what? I am so sorry. My ego triggered me, and I am so sorry I projected that at you. You did not deserve that. And I love myself, and I'm getting better and better at seeing where I have room for progress and growth. And imagine if we each communicated this way in our relationships. I know with me and my beloved, that's how we do communicate, and in our family, but there's so many that I observe that are not doing that. They're shaming themselves, and then they got to shame others, and it's this perpetual downward spiral of shame. And that is not spiritual liberation. That's not power. So we got to stop doing that. Let's see. So you'll become more comfortable and able to admit the aspects of your character that are not constructive or helpful without judging yourself. So we can have awareness, but that doesn't mean there's judgment. I can have observation of what's going on, but I don't have to judge myself. I can go, wow, I could have done that better, and I'll do that better. There's no need for shame, ever. You can learn to increase your power even more because you'll increase your ability to overcome the behaviors that would have once held you back. Every human personality has its strengths and its less helpful qualities. Less helpful qualities in your character are not bad. They are gifts from the universe. These are the places through which you are encouraged to pay attention so that you can lovingly grow. They are the starting place through which we focus our healing intention. We become more empowered and gain great soul satisfaction in doing so. The best way to do this is to love yourself. Then you can accept whatever your less helpful traits may be and use your personal power to choose different ways of being over and over again. So who you're becoming is completely coming from how you're living right now. If you're loving yourself right now, you're becoming a more loving being. If you're being compassionate with yourself, you're going to be more compassionate with others. If we're being hateful and judging to ourselves, we're going to totally send that out. It's just the way it works. When you commit to these powerful behaviors, you will naturally evolve into a new and more spiritually advanced way of being. Self-realization. This is when you become the master, the ascended master. We look at these, when we look at cards, we see ascended master. You know, it's kind of like the dark master or Gandalf, the white wizard master. But we're looking again, if we're looking outside of ourselves, we think, oh, I need to talk to the ascended masters or whatever. Tune in to consciousness, but know that you are here to self-realize. You are here to become your own ascended master. That is the way I see it, and that is the way that I feel in my heart that we're all here doing it, is to become masters of ourselves. In this way, we can accept the gift of power without fear that we will ever misuse it. Your use of power is to serve your spiritual growth. Whenever we grow spiritually, we are helping not only ourselves, but the greater good as well. And I say this in my workshops a lot of times when I have women, they admire me and see my strength. And I tell them some of the story, not that I'm attached to that darkness of my past, but I tell them, you know, I did go through this, and this, and I had to be a warrior, and I had to be courageous, and I had to move through fear, and I had to pick myself up off the floor when I was down and believe in myself. And I want them to know that part, because it's easy to see someone when they're shining, but we don't realize all that time they were that chunk of coal, and all that, you know, compression and all that resistance that happened to that piece of coal before it became a diamond. That is important to understand, because sometimes we see ourselves as a piece of coal and we don't believe we ever could be capable of being the diamond. And you are. You just have to be patient with that process and, you know, look to others for inspiration and listen to what they went through, listen to how they got through it, and then cultivate that in your own life. That's what we're here to teach each other from our own journeys. Okay, so the last part is the gift of power you now accept will support you to transform any tendency you have towards self-sabotage. How many of you guys ever do that? Nobody, right? I'm sure nobody ever is in a space of self-sabotage. When we enter doubt, when we feel afraid, we lack confidence, or when we're being unwilling to take risks that are essential if we are to grow, within you now is the inner strength to know that within you now is the inner strength to overcome any obstacle. Your spiritual success is inevitable. It is only a matter of time before you will see and feel it in your world. And that is truth, my friends. All the other stuff where you're giving your power away, you think money's going to save you. You think the priest is going to save you. You think, you know, the medical world's going to save you. The government, all these things, the guru, all myth. You are here to save yourself, and you are the one that is here to feel that in your world and to ignite that light. And there's souls like my own that are here to kind of inspire that. And we're here to guide you if you resonate with us. You can be like, that chick's crazy, turn me off, that's okay, I won't take it personal. But it's really to feel that divinity within. That is what we're here to do. So the last part, if we want to activate this intention, you can say this out loud or silently within again. And it's, I call upon the crystal angel of clear quartz and Archangel Metatron, who love me unconditionally. Thank you for divine healing around all aspects of my expression of power now. I choose to see, know, and feel that I am a powerful being that serves from unconditional love. It is so natural for me to realize my inner power and to feel safe in expressing it to serve love, even when it's tough love. In all ways, through my own free will, so be it. And then the last part is, I choose of my own free will through this and any and all lifetimes and through all layers of my entire being to release any fear, doubt, guilt, or shame over the use or abuse of power by myself or others. I now dedicate myself to receive the gift of divine power, to use it wisely and in the service to my life path for the greater good. Through divine mercy and unconditional love, so be it. And the affirmation of this on this card is, I express my power on the path of love and grow my divine presence in the world. And I love that. Let me say that one again. I express my divine power on the path of love and grow my divine presence in the world. And that is what we're each here to do. We're here to express that power and to grow that power in the world in a way that serves ourselves as well as others, and just creates a beautiful world that we all can be so proud of, and a beautiful world where we're all connecting and we're all honoring each other, we're respecting each other, we're showing up with love for ourselves, and then we're expressing that outwardly to others. That is what it's all about, my friends. Not all this negativity. So I hope today that this connection, this soul conversation inspired you. And I hope that not only did it inspire you and that you're just going to go click to the next thing and see what will entertain you, but that it's going to stick with you and that you're going to actually remember this and you're going to feel this in your heart And when something fearful comes along, you're going to remember my voice. You're going to remember this love that I'm sending out to you, and you're going to tap into that and let that light and that love guide your choices and guide your direction instead of fear. So thank you guys so much for joining me live, and this was really fun. Thank you for saying great show. Mwah. And this was fun for me. I didn't really know how this would go, but thank you guys so much. And if, like I said, if you want to go watch other shows, go to YouTube under Tawnya Love, and you can follow me on there. And my website is Tawnya Angel, Tawnya, angel555.com. You can look up my services if you're ever in need of a mentor or a mediator, a light worker, energy healer, someone that you can trust in and that you know is going to steer you in the direction of empowerment. I welcome you to come and connect, and I would be honored to assist and serve. And thank you so much, you guys, for all that you're putting out into the world, all your love, all your light, all your intelligence. Mwah! Namaste. Peace out.